Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
It is corner now. The cross, back post. Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Léon Dubois.
Because the score against the played a simple ball. Dia in for Hurtado. An all-timer from Eric Hurtado.
It's a lovely Wednesday evening, and of course, we're back here to look at football stories very in-depthly. Well, it's a program we call the Battle of the Fans, and I'm sure you're used to fans battling, or the fans this afternoon, or this evening, if you like, depending on what clime you're joining us from. We'll take a different coloration, not your regular football fans, but of course, these are superstars in their own rights, and of course, they would be here to offer their thoughts on some of the football stories. We have making rounds around the continent of Africa and of course across the globe. So join us every step of the way. Welcome, and of course thank you very much for joining us. My name is Raj James, and it's a super exciting afternoon, evening to be back, depending on what clime you're joining us from again this particular afternoon here. Now we've got a lot on the plates for you, so all you have to do is just stay back, relax, and of course let's thrill you with this football stories. Marizon is here, and of course we've got Blyden Kim as well. They're the superstars joining the show this afternoon. Now let's head off to Blyden to give us the latest news making rounds this particular afternoon. Blyden, good afternoon. Thank you for joining.
Good evening. In this particular climb, good evening. So good to be on the show. It's another wonderful day for Battle of the Fans, James.
Yeah.
I'm good to have a big man around today.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so, found time to see, and it sounds like men at work.
Surely it is. Surely it is, especially in the eras of awards.
Yeah.
Talking about the CAF Award coming
Absolutely.
on. But I like to go straight to the business. Talk about the latest stories in the world of sports,
Well,
in particular football.
you're a businessman, so I'll allow you that.
So let's get into the Battle of the Fans stories. We begin with Calvin Bassey, Ajax and Rangers. Calvin Bassey has completed his move to Ajax for a Rangers club record fee of £19.6 million. The Nigeria defender, he's 22, has signed a 5-year deal with the Dutch champions, while add-ons could boost the sale by another £3 million. Bassey joined Rangers from Leicester City for a modest compensation fee in 2020 and emerged as a key player last season. Rangers' previous highest sale was £11.5 million for Nathan Peterson. Last time, he racked up 50 games at the Ibrox club, reached the Europa League final, and won the Scottish Cup. And talking about the awards and the big stories in Africa, Senegal's Sadio Mane and Nigeria's Osisat Oshoala have a chance to retain their Confederation of African Football CAF Player of the Year awards after the organizers cut down its shortlist in the men and women's category. Mane, the last man to be crowned Africa's best player back in 2019, will go up against former Liverpool teammate Mohamed Salah of Egypt and compatriot Edouard Mendy of Chelsea. The women's shortlist has also been revealed, with Africa's most decorated footballer Oshoala, Cameroon forward Ajara Njoya, and Zambia's midfielder Grace Chanda making the final three. Barcelona and Nigerian forward Oshoala was named Africa's best female player 3 years ago, since when the awards have been cancelled because of the coronavirus pandemic. CAF, on the other hand, African football governing body, has also announced the final list of other men and women's categories, including coach, young player, interclub player, club, national team, and goal of the year awards. And all the winners will be named on Thursday, apart from the Women's National Team of the Year award, which will be announced after the Women's Africa Cup of Nations final on Saturday. But the latest big news will have to do with that of Paulo Dybala of Argentina. The Argentine forward Paulo Dybala has signed for Jose Mourinho's Roma on a free transfer. The 28-year-old attacker joins on a 3-year deal with his contract with Juventus having ended in June. Dybala scored 115 goals in 293 appearances for the Turin-based club after joining from Palermo in 2015 and won 5 Serie A titles. According to Dybala, he said, "The speed and determination with which Roma demonstrated just how much they wanted him made all the difference." He further said, and I quote, "I am joining a team that is on the up, a club that continues to put in place strong foundations for the future, and a coach, Jose Mourinho, that it will be a privilege to work with." Brad James, it doesn't get better than that.
No, exciting news. Talk about Paulo Dybala. But before we talk about Paulo Dybala, let's begin with the first story. Mari really caught the eye. Calvin Bassey's move from former Scottish champions Rangers to join Netherlands and Eredivisie champion to talking Ajax Amsterdam. First, what do you make of that move?
Of course, right, big transfer and a big story for the young man who just crossed the limelight just 2 years ago. He joined from Leicester City for £500,000 and then he's leaving them to join Ajax for £22 million. That's a massive boost on his valuation as a player, and he's just 22 years of age. I think it's a fantastic one. He's a defender that has a lot of potential, wherever he plays. And I will talk about exposure. I think this the Ajax team gives him that exposure. I mean, the best Rangers could do last season was UEFA Europa League, but of course this is a chance to play UEFA Champions League football, and that for me is a big motivation, a big move up for the man. And like I said the other time, I mean, he joins a long list of Nigerian stars who have played for Ajax. You talk about Finidi George, you talk about Sunday Olise, Tijani Babangida, and the rest of them. So I think this man has got heritage on his side, and I see him, performing, because you look at this Ajax team. Center Lisandro Martinez brought a like-for-like defender in him. That tall, bulky, heavy, hard-hitting defender in Calvin Bassey. And I think this man wouldn't spend 3 years at Ajax. Would move to a top club next 3 years. But big ups to him and big ups to Ajax for snapping up this deal.
All right, now, blindly, let's talk about Calvin Bassey. Many describe Calvin Bassey as a raw talent. It's got raw energy. But of course, if refined, could become one of the top defenders, in his position in the coming years. And you look at Ajax, they're known for nurturing some of the brightest talent on the European stage, and of course have exported them to bigger football clubs in the coming years. Calvin Bassey, and when you talk about football development, what does this move mean for him?
Fantastic player from my standpoint. First of all, you're talking about talent. You talk about a player that's big, a player that has the energy, it has the physicality, and he's not slow, though he's that big. He has aggression. That's what we're talking about. And the good thing about a defender of that magnitude is he can ball. And that's A1 for me. He has a good future, as far as I'm concerned. And he's moving to a club like Ajax. Yes, Ajax nowadays is not the Ajax of yesteryears that Marizano mentioned. Ajax yesteryears were the ones winning the Champions League. Now, it's a bit of a good club. They give good performance. And the beauty about Ajax is the system there. This is how it works. You go there to a team that's so talented, an array of talents, and you find yourself there. We've seen the likes of Haaland. They're not been performing at the biggest clubs you could think of. He couldn't perform so well in West Ham, moved to Ajax, and he's performed very well. So he set the template, I'm talking about Ajax now, good template for performances. And the Eredivisie reduces the pressure for these level of players, and their development gets superb.
Right, now let's move from Calvin Bassey and talk about the journey ahead for him a bit. Now talking about more transfer stories, Paulo Dybala has moved now from Juventus as a free agent and is joining AS Roma. Did that surprise you, Marizano, in any way, looking at the potential suitors? We talk about former Serie A champions in International, that's Inter Milan, Manchester United were also in the hunt, Arsenal were also going for his signature. His choice of Roma, Jose Mourinho's side.
Right, two factors. First up, the fact that which club was most serious in getting, because it's a different thing, just indicated interest. It's another thing trying to actually make it for sign a player. So I think Roma were the best on all of that. And then secondly, you look at the man, Paulo Dybala. I mean, the reason he left Juventus, refused to sign a contract extension, was due to the fact that he wasn't guaranteed of playing time. That same thing he would have suffered at Inter Milan, because you look at the Inter Milan team, there are a couple of players that have got the same quality as he's got. We're talking about Joaquim Correa. We're talking about players like Hakan Çalhanoğlu. I don't think he would walk straight to that level. So instead, he opted for a team that he would get playing time. And that's Roma, because first up, he is that number 10, and then Roma has not had that number 10, that traditional player that would breaking from left, will play from the wings and play from the attack as well. So I think he comes in as a standout and a starting player for AS Roma, and the chance to be tutored under the very best. We're talking the man Jose Manuel Felix Moreno is a big chance for the man as well.
Right now, blind if what I got from Murray rather is anything to go by, then it clearly means it went to a team where he had lesser competition. Well, International, well, he's talked about the options there, and of course how difficult would have found it to get regular playing time under his belt. Is Paulo Dybala 28 scared of competition?
I doubt. You talk about the quality of the player. We've always talked about Dybala getting to a level of showing this level of class. For me, Dybala can walk into any team and get that playing time. There's a beauty about his game. Very scarcely do you see the kind of player like Dybala in most teams. Maybe a little of Bernardo Silva somewhere and Dybala, and you look around, there are not many, so few. That classical number 8 that you think of in world football, there are so few. And Dybala seemed a perfect one. But this is what I see about that transfer. First, he's a free agent. And come on, clubs that want you are going to pay you. And I could see money being part of it, one way or the other. Because as a free agent, the money comes directly to you one way or the other and your agent. So it might make sense instead of paying more in that regard. And on the other hand, come on, who doesn't want to work with a legendary coach like Jose Mourinho? I can name the names. Beginning from Maicon. When I watched Maicon at Inter Milan, he was in that world class until Mourinho touched him. Mourinho brings a certain belief that comes on player. He said, you can do it, you can become a world class. I watched Frank Lampard, he wasn't that superb until Mourinho touched him. John Terry, Mourinho touched him. Marcelo, Mourinho touched him. Do I continue with the names? Right. That's the beauty of working with
Jose Mourinho. Well, with the names, we're talking about Jose Mourinho who coached Roma to a UEFA Conference League title.
First ever.
Third in terms of the rankings and of course CADA of European trophies. Now it's talked about Mourinho, the likes of Mike and Marcelo. Well, that was Mourinho in his A game, in his element, coaching and playing in the UEFA Champions League. But now here's Mourinho that will compete in the UEFA Europa League. Has he still got that Midas touch?
Well, right, I think he has. I mean, if he didn't get it, he wouldn't first of all be a coach of AS Roma. He wouldn't take him to the final. Because the fact that he took him to the final of European competition, no matter the tier, clearly shows that he has that thing, that Midas touch. He talked about, players, I think Ronaldo as well. Ronaldo's best scoring days was under Mourinho at Real Madrid. He scored about 200 goals. So I think Mourinho has got that thing, like Vladin said, in making players believe that they can do the extra and the very best. And I think that should be a factor in Dybala's decision to join AS Roma. And I think Mourinho has got it because you look at Roma, before he came in less than 8 months, he took them to European final. But Roma before then had Paulo Fonseca, already Di Francesco coming in, and then both of these coaches never did any serious thing for AS Roma, just helping them qualify for maybe a top 10 spot, number 8. But Mourinho came in, they've qualified for the Europa League next season, won a European trophy. So I think Mourinho has got that thing that makes him Mourinho. All right,
now very quickly, before we allow Blyden go, and of course to do a quick stop, and we'll continue the rest of the conversations here. Let's talk about Matic De Ligt. That was a trending transfer story from yesterday. Has moved from Juventus and now is going to join Bavarian Giants. We're talking Bayern Munich. And Mari made mention of a point now. If you look at Europe's most expensive defenders over the last 4 or 5 years, from then till now, Matic De Ligt, that's a name that comes up twice, following that move from Ajax to Juventus, and now from Juventus to join Bavarian Giants, Bayern Munich. What makes that lad special?
Well, I wouldn't look at it as special that much, but you definitely look at the potentials.
Yeah.
And it's something that has to do with a lot of Ajax players. It's considered when you're playing for Ajax, you're supposed to be talented. And we've seen De Ligt show that class, especially when he was at Ajax. But moving to Juventus never really lived that potentials over time. And it's a good opportunity from my standpoint, still young, having the opportunity, he's big. Always look forward to big defenders because it's something in defending. You ought to be big, but not just big. You ought to be able to defend. And probably, if you can ball, it adds it to it. So it's exciting for me that he's moving to Bayern Munich. Well, it's open. It's a place for him to show that class. A lot of trophies can be won at Bayern Munich, and it's basically what it is. Good opportunity for De Ligt, and I'm excited it's happening that way.
Now, let's talk about something very quickly now. what kind of defense line are Bayern looking to build now? They've got Matis Delic coming in, and he joins a young lineup, the likes of Dio Pamecano, also there. Nicolas Sule just left them to join Borussia Dortmund.
There's Lucas Hernandez.
Yeah, there's Lucas.
The most experienced defender.
Yeah, there's Lucas Hernandez. You know, a natural left back, but can play centre back as well. You know, is that Vasta? You know, what kind of statement Bayern making? You know, with that kind of signing?
I think first up, let's look at the coach, Leon Nagelsmann. And then he's one coach that's prioritized developing the youngsters. You look at the Bayern Munich team, you know, lately they've been trying to sign more youngsters than old legs to their team. You know, the light of, 36-year-old, Boateng leave for Lyon. Light up, Nicolas Lewis over 29, leave for, Dortmund, and then Alaba left for Real Madrid.
Well, they didn't, let's put it right. They didn't let Nicolas Sule leave.
He joined.
Nicolas Sule left for Borussia Dortmund, and that's a rarity. You know, no intent to distract, the thought pattern, but that's a rarity. You're looking at the fact that Bayern Munich basically, pick and choose from talent all around the Bundesliga, and that's been historic consistently for the last couple of years, and that was a rarity. Nicolas Sule leaving Borussia, leaving Bayern Munich at his prime, even when he was needed to join rivals Borussia Dortmund.
The Sule story, clearly, I think Sule has never impressed me at Bayern Munich. I mean, he was one defender. That's the truth. That's the story.
Well, the hierarchy thought otherwise. They wanted to keep Nicolas Sule so badly.
For a defender, Lucas Hernandez came as left back, but he benched you and played centre back position, in the absence of Alaba and Boateng. That talks a lot about your quality and how
injury.
Well, injury was a factor, but there were days where he was very fit. He didn't play any games, right? So I think, the major reason why he left Bayern Munich was the fact that he wasn't going to playing time. But you look at that Borussia Dortmund team, of course, they've got the experience, Mats Hummels there, and then maybe they need a fellow German partnership and all of that. So I think that counted for him. But I didn't see this man being a big name, for Bayern Munich. Like
now back to Delic quickly.
Yeah. So like I said, right, a young defensive partnership would be a beautiful thing. Upamecano came in from Leipzig just a couple of seasons ago, a young man in his 20s, and then we're talking Martinez, who has been able to have that chance to play with the best defenders in his career. We talk Chiellini and Bonucci. So I think you get lessons that he learned from Juventus to this Bayern Munich team and help them grow and develop. They've got Lucas Hernandez to help them because he was experienced leg in that team, so it helped them patch up their excuses and all of that. But I see this Bayern Munich team, looking at picking youngsters. You look at, from the defense to the midfield to the attack. Joshua Kimmich is around 26, 27, very young as well. The Jan Gravenberch from Ajax, 23 years of age, so another youngster in the ranks. So it clearly shows you the trajectory for a young manager, Julian Nagelsmann, who wants to develop youngsters. So looking forward to how they'll perform this season. But I think that's the lead buy is clearly a fine buy.
All right, now, finally, before we let you go, Blyden, the CAF Awards less than 48 hours away. The nominees are out in the men's category. We'll have Sadio Mane battling with his English teammates. We'll talk about Edward Mendy and, of course, Mo Salah. For the women, Sisato Shola going for 5th, Women African Footballer of the Year, award. And, of course, we've got Jaran Chot. And, there's Grace from Zambia, makes his Chanda rather, from Zambia, who's here, her debut nomination. Well, who gets it where?
Well, first up, I want to say this, I'm quite happy with the female category. The new names that are coming up, it shows there's been improvement on the ranks.
Well, just one.
Come on, especially Zambia. It shows there's been improvement.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Cameroonian too. It shows there's been that consistency. I was surprised there was no South African on the final list. But come on, it had to be Osisat Oshola for me. We look at her performances with the Barcelona side. When you are able to hit the number of goals she had last season and taking the highest goal scoring position, that's something. But beyond that, I go through history. I've seen all female footballers that have come out in history. No player in history better than Osisat Oshola. After Messi Akide, it's Osisat Oshola first from my standpoint. Messi Akide second, Perpetua Nkocha third, all from Nigeria.
That's subject to debate, but I think he's got a point. But we're talking about legends. We're talking about women who played women's football when women's football was basically not a thing in Africa, and then they progressed and they excelled to the world stage. So I mean, right now, Ashola is basically enjoying from the pace set by the Moko Chias and the Messi Akides of this
Which
world.
is tougher then or now?
Right then.
No way.
Then it's tougher. Then in the sense that
now before you come in, many would argue because you look at then,
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about an era where the Super Falcons dominated. We had
Absolutely.
outrageous scorelines,
Absolutely.
9-0, 10-0, 11-0, but now we're talking about, we've been in conversation about the gap increasingly closing. We had the story of Morocco, 1998, the Super Falcons beat them by how many? Eight goals to nothing. And then fast forward to 2022, well, even via lots of penalties, but the story is Morocco landed their first ever win against the Super Falcons.
Right. Yes, what I mean by, tough. First off, Messi Akide, I showed up clearly, look at a progression, from, I think River St. Giles, and of course to Arsenal, to Liverpool, and then to China, and then to Barcelona. It's easy because first off, you're getting that attention, that media attention, you're a lot more visible in the media. But Messi Akide back then, she had to play. She had to play her socks out. Away from African football, it was not easy going from Africa to the world stage. That's my point. So I think Messi Akide, basically,
well, that's very debatable, Blyden. When you consider the fact that the women's game has grown a lot over the years, as compared to what it was back in the days when we had the likes of Pepeto and Kocha, Messi Akide and the rest of the legends playing. Now we'll talk about developments across different continents beyond Africa. Even look at Africa here. We talk about names, Ajaran Chot, we're talking about, Grace from Zambia. And then, we're also talking about Thembi Ngatlana from South Africa and the rest of them across different continents. You can count 10, 15 names, or wasn't a story back in the days.
Bright James, clearly, I followed this game for some years now. I've added some age now.
He comes in the age conversation, right?
But the thing is, I give Messi Akide big credit. She was a shining light in African football, in Nigerian football. He was just like Africa's Lionel Messi. Because there you watch female football, it was difficult to kick 2 passes, 3 passes together. It was just about ballooning the ball and they're just running, and Nigeria were more physical, and they had something about the Nigerian spirit better than the rest of Africa, until Colin Sudor came in and married Messi Akide. Come on, here is it. Come on, buddy. But it's what it is. Because when Messi stopped playing football, she was still at her prime.
So should we
then
call him
Perpetual Kocha came in and took over the ranks, won for African Footballer of the Year. It was a little here, brought in that JJ Okocha kind of play that we saw in female football. But the stage was blown away when a certain Osisat Oshala stepped in. It takes something for a player to win the BBC World Footballer of the Year, and Osisat won it.
Right. Now, we'll hit the breaks here very quickly, meanwhile, and when we return, we'll be talking about the Barca story. Well, they're owing over $1 billion. How exactly are they maneuvering their way around the transfers? They've got many players. The latest is goal-scoring Supremo, Robert Lewandowski. That will be the conversation right after now. Stay right here with us.
It's his corner now. The cross, back post, Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Léo Dubois.
Because the rules were against, he played the simple ball. Dia in for Hurtado. An all-timer from Eric Hurtado.
our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
A knowledge of global businesses, economic activities, a new wave of the stock market, forex market, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs creates new dynamics towards emerging market millionaires and billionaires. From the dot-com era to the oil booms, the fundamental news drives the market. This is Business 360, taking you to the business around the globe. Join us from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. weekdays, exclusive on Spectrum Television. Business 360, your prism to world businesses.
Nigerian police force, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
A knowledge of global businesses, economic activities, a new wave of the stock market, forex market, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs creates new dynamics towards emerging market millionaires and billionaires. From the dot-com era to the oil booms.
Louis Gasset is his corner now. The cross, back post, Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal! Leon
All right, so many thanks for staying right here with us. Battle of the Fans on Spectrum Television. Well, you joined a conversation in no distance. I was streaming live on Facebook, so drop a comment, and of course, we'll be taking them as they come. The table is set and ready to battle. Marizon is still here, but of course, Solorex joins the conversation now. Solorex, fine evening to have you join us.
Absolutely, Bridget. Fantastic to be back as well.
All right, so let's get it rolling. Mari, this question has been on the minds of many football fans. Barca owing over 1 billion euros. Now, how are they doing the signings? How exactly are they getting one? Now, the latest is Robert Lewandowski is joined from Bayern Munich. A fee believed to be in the region of around £42.5 million. You know, they brought in Frank Kessie from AC Milan, brought in Rafinha from Leeds United. There's been a lot of transfer activities. So, where are they getting the money from?
First off, I think Barca are relying on, some, financial cushions. First off, they signed a deal with a music streaming company where they think they'll get a lot of money, from streaming and all of that. And then recently we heard stories that they were giving out the new camp for charity games and then for events like weddings. So you could do your wedding reception there if you want to. So you help the Barca project, by the way. So and all of that. And also they're looking to offload a few players. The buy has been seen to be leaving. Frankie de Jong, the merry-go-round continues with him and Manchester United. If they can get £80 million for that particular man, you know that which has been upsetted and they can register the new players. Moreover, Bright, look at players that are coming in. We're talking Lewandowski, Rafinha, we're talking about Frank Kessie. These players have got marketable value. I mean, imagine selling a Lewandowski jersey, a Barca jersey. That fetches you a lot of money. Same story for Rafinha, who comes in, fantastic, exciting Brazilian player. So I think they've also relied on all of that, to bring them the money and then try to cushion their financial crisis. And I think that has been the trajectory for Matthew Alemany and of course Juan Laporta and what he's been doing. But kudos to them, despite their precarious financial situation, have been able to sign some crazy top stars into the ranks. We talk about Rafinha, Lewandowski, from Kessie, Christensen as well. So I think they've got a lot to offer next season. Right now,
so let's look at the other part of the conversation, which is beyond Lewandowski joining. We're talking about the battle for competitions within the Barca starting 11. How difficult will it now be to start a game for FC Barca?
It's already difficult, Lewandowski coming to the team, Rafinha and a couple of players, not forgetting Memphis Depay, he still has that quality. But the problem I'm having is, if you're signing this good set of players, the manager duty is always at stake. You could recall what happened in Manchester United, when Ole got Sancho into the team. Ole was now fired because if you are getting quality players, you need to get the best out of them. And I still doubt whether Xavi can get the best out of this set of players.
I know. I have never had doubts, right, unfortunately for me, because, Xavi coached a 30-year-old Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to scoring how many goals? 14. He came in January, was Barca's second highest goal scorer in all competitions last season too. And then he's got Sergio Busquets in that team. PK. I mean, those are players that
you don't need to forget the fact that a new manager coming.
You've got a problem with Xavi.
No, I don't have a problem with him. I just feel for him.
Well, for him.
Looking at, when a manager comes into the team, everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to be in the starting 11. So what happens in the next season?
I want to get your point, Solorex. Are you saying that Xavi is inexperienced to coach the stars at Barca? Absolutely. Or you think that the stars at Barca will sack Xavi?
He doesn't have what it takes to coach those stars. He doesn't.
Right.
In my own opinion, he doesn't.
Well, Bright, let's talk about something. Pep Guardiola came into
Is
Barca.
Xavi now the new Pep?
2008. It
doesn't work for everybody.
He was barely 40 yet. He came in, won the Champions League with them, won the League Cup that particular season with a Messi in that team. I mean, he came in with Samuel Eto'o in that team. So I don't think, and these players compared to the players by then, they're a lot better. The quality is a lot different too. I don't think that Xavi would have issues. Moreover, the players would want to play for Xavi because they understand the fact that Xavi has a final say.
All right, now let's critically, bring the conversation down to the talking points for this evening. Robert Lewandowski is joined from Bayern, and now he joins La Liga as one of the best players there. Before Lewandowski, there was already a Karim Benzema. Now with Lewandowski's arrival, can we now say Karim Benzema is still La Liga's best player? I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think he should start there.
Before Lewandowski arrived, Rafinha came out with a big statement, that he's now, competing with the likes of Barcelona. I think if you want to show that, you need to compete with this set of players, you need to shoot in the field of play. When you get to play the El Clasico, that's when we need to see you punching those goals, bringing those assists. It's still a new terrain for Robert Lewandowski. But as you feel, Karim Benzema, knowing where he's playing, he knows where to stand and score those goals. So as you feel, he still has what it takes. He has that supremacy over Lewandowski as well.
So I want to understand something. He's saying that Benzema, would still do better than Lewandowski.
Absolutely.
Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Now let's put it in context. Lewandowski scored 50 goals, competitions last season, in the Bundesliga, and this man's quality is not in doubt. We're not talking about, just in the Bundesliga. He scored over 30. He scored over 10 in the Champions League last season, for Bayern Munich. So I think his quality has never been in doubt. He's a player. According to stats, he has a goal conversion rate of 87% last time I checked. So his quality is not in doubt. And then you look at that Barca team. I mean, they'll create chances for him because he capitalizes on players that create chances. So you look at that Barca team: Rafinha, Dembele, Ansu Fati, Ferran Torres. But send the balls in.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a lot more in a bit. But I'd like to throw this in: Robert Lewandowski, Karim Benzema. Who's a better goal scorer?
Both of them are in the same class, but I always choose Karim Benzema.
Right, Lewandowski, of course. In the last 8 years, this man has outscored Ronaldo and Lionel Messi.
Mario, where is he playing? In the Bundesliga?
Really?
We do call it Farmers League.
Compared to the La Liga? Bundesliga a Farmers League?
Compared to the La Liga?
How is the Bundesliga a Farmers League? Tell me.
How is it a Farmers League?
How many teams in the Bundesliga play the Champions League? How many league titles
have they won?
They've won 8 on the trot too.
That clearly shows you that it's a Farmers League.
No, it shows they're a good team. It shows that they've got quality.
Compared to what happens in the Premier League, the La Liga.
Lewandowski has outscored Benzema in the last 8 years.
Last season, Atletico Madrid won the La Liga. This is who won it? Real Madrid.
Yeah, but no.
Really?
The conversation here, Solorex, is about who's a better goal scorer, because now with these two legendary figures playing in the same league, now the rivalry, and of course they will take that to who becomes top scorer. Now that's the next conversation, to who finishes top scorer, and now that factors in.
According to Opta last season, Lewandowski was faced with 64 chances on the competition. He scored 50. That's a crazy rate, right? That man is a fox in the box. And then I couldn't check for Benzema because I don't fancy him, unfortunately.
Yeah, Benzema scored 27 in La Liga and scored 15 in the UEFA Champions League.
That's 46 in all competitions.
I thought you'd say thank you.
That's 44 in all competitions as compared to Lewandowski.
Okay, fine. Let's look at the players.
The only stronghold I think you would say is the fact that Real Madrid won the Champions League last season. Of course, Benzema being the central figure for
aside from winning the Champions League.
But if you take Lewandowski to that Real Madrid team, Benzema stays on the bench.
Mario,
tell me the truth.
Let's look at the players.
Benzema stays on the bench.
Let's look at the players. Lewandowski was playing with at Bayern. Talking of Gnabry, talking of Müller, talking of Lorisani.
Benzema played with Ronaldo.
Coming to Real Madrid, or coming to Bayern, sorry. He's going to
play to Barca.
Barca. He's going to play with Rafinha. What's the possibility that Rafinha will, go to Real Madrid in the first season, perform like what Müller has been doing?
Rafinha. Okay, let's talk about Dembele.
We are going to Ousmane Dembele.
Should we talk Dembele or Rafinha? Should we talk Dembele or Rafinha?
One after the other.
Let's start with Dembele.
I'm done with Dembele. No, I'm done with
due to injuries last season, Dembele played just 21 games, had 14 assists.
If
that man goes to Real Madrid, he benches Gareth Bale is out. He benches everybody at that left wing at Real Madrid.
All right, now let's not be ridiculous now. So basically you've got concerns around who provides the goals for Lewa.
Absolutely.
At Barca.
Absolutely.
All right, so you don't feel the quality with Ferran Torres, Memphis Depay, Ousmane Dembele, Rafinha, it's enough to get Jordi Alba.
Let's look at the players.
Gavi, there's Ansu Fati, there's Pedri.
How many games
there's
did
Sergio
Ansu Fati play last
Busquets.
Season? We are talking about fitness compared to what Müller, Lorisani, Saint Gnabry has been doing for Lewandowski at Bayern. That's what we are talking about. When his team needed him most, talking of Ousmane Dembele in the Champions League, where was he?
All right, let's study something. This is one of the reasons why Xavi wanted at least 2 quality players in every position, so that if one goes down, one plays. And you look at the wings. First up, Dembele who is injury prone. And then Rafinha, who is not that injury prone. So Rafinha.
So you think in his first season, he'll go into that Barca team and provide 20 goals and 20 assists?
A lot of players come at their first season and sparkle. Luis Suarez, his first season was dominating at Barcelona.
What happened to the greatest of all time, Lionel Andres Messi at Paris Saint-Germain? What happened to Sergio Ramos?
That's a different story. That's a different conversation.
We're talking about players in their first season.
No, let's
bring it back now. The conversation now, Solorex, is about Robert Lewandowski, and of course, you're casting aspersions as to whether or not he can get the supplies. He got a buy-in to get the number of goals Mari talked about in his 8 seasons in the Bundesliga Giants.
It's never possible.
Right.
We are talking on the players.
So we finished ahead. Robert Lewandowski, Karim Benzema, Pichichi.
Benzema.
Right, Lewandowski with the players at Barca would score 36 goals in La Liga next season.
Right, so, who finishes higher in terms of goal scoring this particular season? Karim Benzema or Robert Lewandowski? We'd like to have you join the conversation very, very quickly. But before we take those comments, let's still stay with Barca because it seems to be the talk of town. Now, Mario was doing a little bit of research, and I looked at the odds, teams with the odds to win the Champions League. Now, the team with the highest was Manchester City, followed by Liverpool. PSG was third, Bayern 4th, Chelsea 5th, Real Madrid 6th, Barca 7th, Tottenham 8th, Juve 9th, and Inter 10th. Now, with all of these acquisitions and with Leo joining, does it make sense, you know, for Barca to be where they are in terms of odds to win the UEFA Champions League? They're the 7th best, you know, in Europe, tipped to win the competition.
Well, I think first up, you know, the people that organized the rankings first of all looked at, you know, their competition, you know, and then the performance in the previous season. You look at Manchester City went through to the semi-finals. Real Madrid were in the final. Chelsea semi-finals, in the quarterfinals rather, and then a couple of PSG also did fantastic job, left in the quarterfinals as well. So, and then Barca played in the Europa League last season, so I think they also placed that in perspective as to if Barca can do it, right? But believe you me, Barca will go very, very far in the UEFA Champions League next season. They've got a Champions League winner in Lewandowski coming into the team, so that's a lot of quality in that team. So I do not see Barca ending anywhere below the semi-finals next season.
Right, so let's wrap up this conversation talking Barca now. Perfect front three for Barca next season.
Perfect front three. Lewandowski, Ousmane Dembele, and probably Memphis Depay.
Mari?
Right. Ansu Fati through the left. Ousmane Dembele through the right. Robert Lewandowski in the middle. Thank you very much.
Well, we'll get your thoughts in the coming days. Thank you very much indeed, you know, for being part of the conversation this evening. We thoroughly appreciate you. Big ups to Light, and thank you for being part of the conversation as well. Thank you, Mari. Thank you, Solarex. We'll return here on Saturday. We'll have a lot more time from 9:30 to 11.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of time to play with. I'm Brian James. So enjoy the rest of your evening. And I love the table. You know, so this is the table of men.
Yeah, you know. So of course, now we can ask, what do you bring to the table?
Nice one.
On the table.
All right, so the news brief comes up at 6, a couple of seconds from now. And of course, stay right here with us and do enjoy the rest of the day's broadcast right here at Spectrum Television. We're out. Have fun.
It's his corner now. The cross, back post, Dubois is there, straight back in. Oh, it's a goal!